Yo, and we're back again with another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest. I'm Seth from the Lonely Stoners podcast. We're going to be talking about a few different things today. Recently got announced that Tyson Fury is going to be retiring from boxing, so that's what we're going to kick off today's episode with. What I want to talk about is what's Tyson Fury's legacy in boxing? How will he be remembered? Of course, he's a British heavyweight boxer who's a former undisputed heavyweight champ, former lineal champ, a guy who's accomplished basically everything there is to accomplish in boxing. He recently announced his retirement, and he was coming off back-to-back losses against Alexander Usyk. But Tyson Fury retires from boxing at the age of 36 with a record of 34 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw, and 24 of his 34 wins were by knockout. And looking at that number now, I'm seeing that and thinking, well, I mean, that's for a guy who's really not known for his stopping ability and known for his power. 24 out of 34 knockouts is quite significant. I think, yeah, that's quite significant. Like, he's clearly got something there. You know, and you can tell by watching him box, guys aren't walking through his punches. He has got some power. He's got enough power to keep guys honest. And on 24 occasions, he had enough power to knock the guy out. But Tyson Fury's career, of course, he's got some huge wins. But I think he should still be remembered, in my opinion, as probably the best ever British heavyweight. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be saying Lennox Lewis, but Lennox Lewis lost to guys not as good as Alexander Usyk. He lost to Hasim Rahman, Lennox Lewis. You know, I know he wanted to rematch him and get the win back, but Tyson Fury never lost to guys like Hasim Rahman. Hasim Rahman's a decent boxer, but you can't be losing to him if you want to be the best British heavyweight of all time. Come on now. So for me, Tyson Fury goes down as the greatest heavyweight British boxer ever. Of course, in his career, huge wins: Derek Chisora, Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder, Dillian Whyte. You know, just to name a few. But of course, Tyson Fury's real sort of, maybe his biggest controversy was after he beat Klitschko, he kind of went on a bender, sort of retired from boxing, and took like a 3-year hiatus, basically. And we didn't see Tyson Fury box again for another 3 years until he fought a guy called Seferi. I guess he's some Albanian plumber. Francesco Pianetta, I guess another plumber. And then he would come back and have his big comeback fight. Not big comeback fight, but a big huge fight. His first big fight back against Deontay Wilder, which would be a draw following Tyson Fury getting knocked down in the 9th and 12th round. And that knockdown in the 12th round was absolutely, it was an iconic knockdown. You know, nobody gets up from those situations. But Tyson Fury got up in that situation. He got up and continued to outbox Deontay Wilder for the rest of that round. It wasn't like Fury got up by the skin of his teeth and he just about survived until the fight ended. No, he got up and then went straight back onto Deontay Wilder and put the pressure on him. And it was a real Warriors performance, but it was a draw. And following that, Tyson Fury would fight back-to-back undefeated boxers in Tom Schwartz, whoever the hell that guy is, and Otto Wallin, who's sort of been known now as a semi-respectable guy in the division, but really a journeyman. A guy, I mean, he was unbeaten when he faced Tyson Fury, but yeah, Otto Wallin's not causing in any serious heavyweight any real problems. Even though, to be fair, Otto Wallin did put a decent performance against Tyson Fury, but yeah, we're kind of looking back at it, considering what Otto Wallin is as a boxer, and Tyson Fury's sort of legacy, and the fact that Otto Wallin was able to sort of give him a bit of a run for his money was interesting, to say the least. But Tyson Fury would have back-to-back wins against those guys and then go on to rematch Deontay Wilder. And this fight, I remember this fight very well. And Tyson Fury would go on to knock down Deontay Wilder in rounds 3 and 5. And, really in this fight and then in the third fight subsequently, would really just put on clinics on Deontay Wilder. And, of course, Deontay Wilder in the second fight had his moments and he's still dangerous. Regardless of the situation you put him in, at this point, he's still a very dangerous boxer. But Fury beats him and then beats him again in the third fight. That pretty much marks the end of Deontay Wilder's career as a credible heavyweight that could come back for a world title. And we've seen how Deontay Wilder's career sort of panned out off the back of those losses. And we are, nearly 4 years removed from those losses, and Deontay Wilder's not been the same. But after that, Tyson Fury would then finish off that Deontay Wilder trilogy with 2 wins, 0 losses, and a draw in the first fight. He would then go on to face Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora in the year of 2022. And these were always going to be 2 pretty easy fights for Tyson Fury. As long as he turned up and just fought his fight, he was going to win these fights. Dillian Whyte on paper should have been able to give him a bit more of a run for his money, in my opinion. And Dillian Whyte, I think the fight didn't even last that long, did it? I want to see. Yeah, I haven't got the bout up here. Let's have a look. When did this fight stop? How long did it go? 55 rounds it went. So Tyson Fury knocked him out in the 5th round. And, the Dillian Whyte did have his moments in that fight, to be fair. Sort of showed at times a bit of a blueprint to have some success against Tyson Fury and sort of trying to work the body, but it didn't work in the end, and he got uppercutted and pushed over and kind of sent to the Shadow Realm. And wasn't able to recover, and then that was it for him. And Derek Chisora, this was just... The fact that this fight even happened was a bit ridiculous, and we even saw, Tyson Fury sort of fall out with True Geordie because of this fight. Because True Geordie was calling him out, and to be fair, when you've got a guy like True Geordie calling you out, you sort of need to take a look at yourself, because I don't know what I'll go on for you if you're in that situation. But that happened, and then Tyson Fury sort of fell out with True Geordie over it. And again, the Derek Chisora fight, if you thought the Dillian Whyte fight was a bit of a joke, that fight was happening, at least Dillian Whyte was, a guy who, at the top of his game, at the top of the heavyweight division, was fighting credible guys, good performances, some wins, occasional loss. I mean, he had 2 losses at that time, coming into that Tyson Fury fight. So still a guy with maybe not huge upside, but a guy who's got some serious respect on his name, and Tyson Fury knocks him out. Then after that, you go to Derek Chisora, and you're like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? The Derek Chisora is an absolute journeyman, gatekeeper at this point. Derek Chisora, for a certain caliber of fighter, he will always be dangerous because he can take a shot and because he's still got power in his hands. But when you're facing guys like, I don't know, to be fair, Chisora put in a good performance against Usyk, to be fair, but that was a few years before he was fighting Tyson Fury. And he's had more miles on the clock, taken more damage, more training camps, and then would fight Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury just kind of schooled him for however long that fight went on for. I think that went the distance. Really, Tyson Fury should be looking to finish a guy like Derek Chisora, to be honest. It felt like it was sort of a situation where these guys kind of made an agreement. Yep, I'll give you this world title fight. We'll do it at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll make a bunch of money. I won't go too hard. You won't go too hard. We'll sort of chill our way through this 12 rounds, and whatever happens, happens. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was a slightly more intense exhibition match. It felt like even if Derek Chisora decided that he wanted to hurt Tyson Fury, he wouldn't be able to. He wouldn't be able to land a shot on him. And Tyson Fury had already decided he's not even really going to try and really go for the kill. But that fight happened. That actually may be a fight that you could possibly say damages Tyson Fury's legacy a bit. And it's going to sound crazy to say because Tyson Fury won that fight pretty handedly, but it felt cherry picked. It didn't feel natural. It just felt weird because there was other guys that Tyson Fury could have fought. You know, he could have fought an Anthony Joshua. He could have fought an Usyk at that point. He could have, you know, who else? Who's the other guy? Well, he already fought Dillian White. You know, but there was better guys he could have fought, and he fought Chisora. It felt a bit weird to me, but that fight happened and he won it. Then there was the Francis Ngannou fight, which I think, to a lot, and if Tyson Fury stays retired, that's his last ever win against Francis Ngannou. And Francis Ngannou in his boxing debut put on a hell of a performance, to be fair. Now, there are people saying that in this fight, Ngannou did so well, Tyson Fury got robbed. No, Francis Ngannou did so well that Francis Ngannou got robbed by the decision, because the decision went to Tyson Fury. But I wouldn't say that. I think because Francis did so well, people are like, oh, he's done so well, he's won the fight. Which isn't the case. Just because you do well doesn't mean you win the fight. You have to actually outbox the guy or stop him. And Francis didn't do that. For the most part, Fury was still outboxing Ngannou. Now, Ngannou had moments. He dropped him. And he had more than enough power to keep Tyson Fury honest. And would occasionally land some big shots and wobble Fury and have people thinking, damn, Francis could stop him. But Francis didn't stop him. And Fury outboxed him for the length of the fight. Rounds that, even when Ngannou's landing big shots, Fury's outboxing him. So I'd be interested. I mean, we know how the fight was scored because Fury won the fight, and in my opinion, despite it was close, it was definitely close and definitely competitive. And the biggest part is it was more competitive than what we had all originally anticipated for that fight. That being said, in my opinion, Tyson Fury won that fight. It wasn't a robbery. It wasn't really controversial. Tyson Fury won that fight. But again, you're sort of looking at it, and this sort of affects his legacy as well. You're looking at a guy who's making his pro debut against Tyson Fury, who's at this point 34-0. You shouldn't even be able to lace this guy's boots. Do you know what I mean? Tyson Fury should be getting him out of there in 4 rounds. How is this going the distance? How is this even competitive? You're like, what's going on? Like, that's a bit ridiculous. Tyson Fury should be stopping a guy like Francis Ngannou inside 4 rounds. Not going competitive fights where people are like, damn, Ngannou's doing quite well here. That shouldn't even be a conversation. But it was. So that was really the start of a bit of a downfall for Fury. And then following that, he goes on to have the 2 fights with Usyk. And of course, in the first fight, Usyk wins. And he knocks down Fury in round 9. But this was a split decision. This was scored as a split decision to Usyk. A close fight, a competitive fight, because stylistically, these guys, they match up very well with each other. So it was always going to be a tight fight. It was always going to be a matter of inches between who wins this, because it's a fight that really could have gone either way. Usyk was winning the rounds, though. He was doing really well at winning the rounds. That would be, you know, even if he's not landing huge power shots, I mean, that's not really either of these guys' sort of game plan, is to knock a guy out with huge power shots, but to wear him down, set traps, win those rounds, rack up those rounds. So by the time it gets to round 10, 11, 12, you've pretty much got the fight in the bag. I think both men boxed well. Usyk had a generational performance in this fight and even knocked down Tyson Fury, which the only other person to knock down Tyson Fury is obviously Steve Cunningham, but in recent history was Deontay Wilder. And Usyk is nowhere near the puncher that Deontay Wilder is. But he knocked him down, but knocked down Tyson Fury. So, a serious achievement to do that. And then, of course, they rematch again later in the year, later in 2024, and Usyk wins again. And this fight was less competitive even. This was a unanimous decision. I remember watching the fight, and I'm thinking this is quite close, but upon rewatch, you're like, okay, Usyk's doing the cleaner work. Fury's out throwing, which does affect the visual perspective of the fight. Does affect your visual perception, because you're like, okay, this guy's throwing more punches, he must be winning. Of course, boxing is not as simple as that, but to the untrained eye, which we look at some of these judges and you're like, they are kind of the untrained eye here, but still, Usyk beat Tyson Fury in back-to-back losses for Tyson Fury. He lost all his belts. He's now beltless and is now retired. But a Tyson Fury retirement, I don't really buy it. He's only 36. And considering in his fights, he's not really taken a huge amount of damage compared to other heavyweights with 37 pro fights. You know, other heavyweights with 37 pro fights have taken a lot more damage than Tyson Fury has. Tyson Fury's only really taken damage in the huge, like noticeable amounts of damage, probably in the Otto Wallin fight. In recent years, I'm talking. Otto Wallin fight, Deontay Wilder fights, Francis dropped him, and then Usyk first fight. So that's actually quite a few fights, because there was 3 fights with Deontay Wilder. But other than that, you know what I'm trying to say, he's not chinny. Well, he got dropped. He's been dropped a few times, but maybe he is getting a bit chinny. But still, I don't know what my point is here, but still, Tyson Fury, I think he's only really doing this so in, I don't know when, maybe it'll be this year, but in a few years' time, when he's still probably under the age of 40, Turki Al-Sheikh will offer him a boatload of money to come out of retirement. He'll fight one more guy, he'll probably lose, and then he'll be retired. But that's probably the only reason why Tyson Fury is really retiring, because there's still non-title fights that are out there for him. AJ being a huge one, Weili Zhang. Oh no, not Weili Zhang. Is she the female, the Chinese heavyweight? There's obviously the Chinese female flyweight. But whatever these Eric Reprid regens are called. There's the Chinese heavyweight. Who else? Not Joseph Parker. He's not going to fight Joseph Parker. Dubois, obviously. AJ, like I said. There's still some fights out there, and these are AJ and Dubois. They're huge fights for him. You know, multi-million-pound purses for Tyson Fury if he wants to take those fights. But like he said to his dad, he's got more money. He couldn't spend it in 2 lifetimes. So he's all right. He lives a humble life from what I imagine. But Tyson Fury's a legacy for me. He'll go down as the greatest British heavyweight of all time. Better than Lennox Lewis, better than AJ, better than Dubois, better than what's the other guy's name? The guy that went crazy. Frank Bruno. I mean, way better than Frank Bruno. Come on. Frank Bruno's not even in those conversations, but yeah, Tyson Fury, yeah, he's got a good legacy. You know, multi-time world champion, lineal heavyweight champion at one point. Retires at 34-2 and 1 draw. It's a good legacy. I think he'll be remembered favourably by the historians of boxing. And in other news, in MMA news, we've also got Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen announcing that they're going to be the next coaches for the UFC's Ultimate Fighter. And these two guys are, I guess, friends. Well, they must be. They've got like a show together, the good guy and the bad guy. Obviously, DC being the good guy and Chael being the bad guy. They're going to be coaches on Ultimate Fighter. And I kind of like this. It's interesting to me because these guys are 2 UFC Hall of Famers. Daniel Cormier, of course, being a 2-time world champion, or 2-weight world champion rather, 2-weight world champion, and Chael Sonnen being a 3-time title challenger, obviously challenging at middleweight and light heavyweight, and DC winning titles at light heavyweight and heavyweight. Being, you know, it's a very interesting setup considering these guys are two friends, but they're competitors at the end of the day. These guys are, you know, as much as we want to be like, yeah, they're friends, They're competitors. Don't get it twisted. And they'll want to win. And just having quick looks at it, it looks like the weight divisions they're going to be using for the Ultimate Fighter will be flyweight and welterweight. So nice to see they're using 2 weight classes. Not surprised they're doing flyweight. They need to do flyweight desperately because they need more flyweights on that roster badly, because Pantoja just ran through the division already. They need flyweights badly, and I guess more depth at welterweight never going to be a bad thing as well. But hopefully, whoever goes on from these series to win it, or whoever's in it, goes on to have a good UFC career and competes at a high level. I always love to see, Ultimate Fighter winners go on to be champions. It doesn't happen too often. Happens occasionally. Of course, Usman done it. There's been other guys, I'm sure, as well that I'm forgetting. But yeah, so a lot going on. Of course, we had a previous episode that was recorded earlier today that would have dropped by the time this episode drops. But you got to be just a workhorse. You got to be pumping out content, bro. Got to. What will we be going for? Yeah, that's good enough. Just under 22 minutes. I'll wrap it up here, and by the time I finish talking, we'll be probably into 22 minutes. But yeah, so we talked about Tyson Fury's legacy. Like I said a million times, I think he's going to go down as the best heavyweight boxer, best British heavyweight boxer of all time, until someone else comes along. But Anthony Joshua, we won't have to worry about Anthony Joshua. Maybe Daniel Dubois could do it. If Dubois rematches Usyk and beats Usyk, who knows? And then goes on to have multiple title defenses, Dubois could do it. But he's young, it's early in his career. He's already lost to Usyk as well. But it was a close fight, it was competitive. There's a bit of controversy there, so maybe Dubois in a rematch now that Dubois got a world title. Usyk's sort of probably eyeing that as his next fight to get all the belts back. Same time, Dubois could beat Usyk, and then Usyk gets all the belts. Then Dubois gets all the belts, sorry. But yeah, talked about Tyson Fury's legacy. We talked about the new season of The Ultimate Fighter. They're supposed to be, I don't think they've been given official dates for when it's supposed to be coming out, but I probably won't be watching it because nobody's got time for that. But yeah, interesting to see Chael and DC as the coaches. I'm sure there'll be some very, very funny memes to come from that show, but we'll have to wait and see, and I'll keep you guys posted. But it's been Seth from the Lonely Stoner podcast, and this has been episode 8 of the Solo Side Quest. And yeah, that's it from me. I'm out. Peace.